The next 120 seconds bring you more action and excitement than most people experience in a lifetime. Rushing at fever pitch out of the night in the city comes the best-selling novel that intrigued millions, Gerald Kirsch's startling story of London after dark, Night and the City. An intimate and intense picture of a city, and the intruders in the night who live and love and hate under cover of its darkness. Richard Widmark, always fleeing from one affair, always turning to another, working harder than any man that ever lived, but always on the wrong thing. Gene Tierney, who wants only his love.
Who are you running away from now?
Running? Me? Now, you know me better than that.
3 days and 3 nights and not a word from you.
Well, I've been very busy.
For all I knew, you were lying in the gutter somewhere with a knife in your back.
Googie Withers, who wants his kisses.
Just think, Harry, think. We're younger, stronger, healthier than he is. We've got more life in our little fingers than he has in the whole of his body. Oh, Harry, darling, we must have got to get away from him. Please, Harry, please.
Hugh Marlowe, who wants his sweetheart.
Oh, no, you don't. Not again. Every time you talk, you mix me up so I can't think straight for a week. Thanks, Adam.
Anything. Anytime.
Francis L. Sullivan, who wants his life.
You've got it all. But you're a dead man, Harry Fabian. A dead man.
Give it up! Give it up! Stop! Stop it! Stop!
Fabian! Fabian, come out of there!
You rat! You double-crosser! You Judas! Harry! Harry, go back!
Turn me in! Cut my throat for 1,000 quid!
Go back, Harry! I'll get help!
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to episode 66 of the Movie Graveyard Shift, and we are deep in Noirch, the film noir month of March 2025. And join me is my co-host and the creator of the series, the one and only Brayton Cano.
Raph, send the lawyers guns and money, haven't I told you?
I sent them bombs, paralegals, and Doge crystals.
I love the lyric, the actual provoking the shit has hit the fan at that long last. Do you find that sight gag in Airplane a little too on the nose? I've always always the one that sight gag that stuck out to me as, come on.
Yeah. Well, it's I don't mind a good pun, and I don't mind if it's like visual gags like that. But yeah, the poop hitting the fan is a little too much. That's like the movie's already filled with like. It is a funny movie, and it is one I do hope to stream one night on a 1% Weird. Along with the original movie that directly inspired it. But yeah, no, it is one of the gags where it's like, yeah, it's not only a little too much, but also, did you really have to throw in a poop joke? I don't much care for poop jokes, period, to be honest. So,
poop is overrated.
Yeah.
But you know who isn't overrated, and that's Warren Zevon. So I'm glad we could start off the night with a little music from him. He's very underrated.
Oh yeah, no, that was a really good song. I instantly put on my playlists, much to your chagrin.
I saw that. Very hip and poppy. I mean, we Werewolves of London is his most famous song. We had long ago, Excitable Boy, that we played out Barton Fink with. And yeah,
he's an
just
excitable boy. I'll get you in hell.
He just has like the perfect gift for writing about the strangest, darkest things, but it being so goddamn catchy. Where
you're
distracted by the pop sensibilities of it.
Yeah, that's the funny thing about music. Like, I'm a big fan of the band. They Might Be Giants. Mm-hmm. And we played a little bit of them. She Was a Hotel Detective at the end of our Friday stream, which went incredibly well. I have people who were contacting me on Facebook revisiting after the fact, and we had 40 views on the first night alone.
Wow.
But no, the funny thing about them is that you listen to their music and you think it's like kid friendly and upbeat and all that, but then you actually sit down and listen to the lyrics and it's like, Oh, they're not singing happy songs. They're singing about authoritarian dread in a terrible capitalistic society that is draining our souls. So,
Yay! Yeah,
and yet their most famous song, "Lighthouse in Your Soul," is about a nightlight protecting a little child. So it's like, yeah. So, well, sometimes.
what a lovely conundrum they are. But
Yes.
no, there's songs about, and we won't dwell too much on this. Songs about school shooters are always like funny enough, really poppy and catchy, like Pumped Up Kicks. But I'm a big fan of the song.
Yeah.
I particularly love the song "Tell Me Why I Hate Mondays" by the Boomtown Rats, which is about a female girl school shooter long ago. But on one level, it's like, yeah, this is the ultimate anthem for people who hate getting up on Mondays. But then you listen to the lyrics and you understand the backstory, and it's like, wow.
Yeah, Pump Up Kicks. Yeah, from Foster the People.
Yeah,
that was another song where I was like really getting into it, but then you were like actually sit down and listen to the lyrics and like, oh, it's one of those.
He's
songs.
coming for you.
Yeah.
But anyway, no, I wanted to kind of keep that a theme with Noirch of playing songs that sort of tie into the themes and things of the featured film for the evening.
Mm-hmm.
And for Night in the City, a tale about a man caught in a desperate situation and scrambling for any way out of this mess that he can find, I thought that Warren Zevon's Lawyers, Gun and Money was a perfect fit. And it's fun tonight because, as I kind of built up to last Friday, or this past Friday, we're featuring one of the greatest noirs, in my opinion, an absolute masterpiece, and one of my very, very favorite films and tragedies of all time. And that is, the Night in the City from 1950, the American cut of the film. But this is a pretty heavy movie, and it's got a lot of real life weight to it, with the director's own personal kind of professional career tragedy that he was going through, Jules Dassin.
Mm-hmm.
Released by 20th Century Fox in 1950. That's what we're getting into tonight. And you have never, unlike some of these movies that we've done in the past, I know this year we're kind of going off the beaten trail with some lesser known titles, but you've never ever heard of this, right?
No, not at all.
Okay.
So yeah, and unfortunately, I'm so unfamiliar with this movie, I keep forgetting it's not Night in the City, it's Night and the City.
And the City, yes. It's like it's not Beauty in the Beast. It's Beauty and the Beast, kind of that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Beauty in the Beast would be a very different film, and it'd have you questioning the gender dynamics of that relationship. But
I thought it was about the Beast and Belle opening a burger restaurant that's open till 2 a.m.
Or Beauty in the Beast could also mean that he ate her. That could be another.
Oh yeah. Or Beauty is shrunken down in a miniaturized submarine with Donald Pleasance and Raquel Welch, and they're either trying to save the Beast or they're going to kill him from within.
We got to really think on this.
Yeah.
Gotta write a thesis paper around this fucking.
Yeah, we're being attacked by big blobbies. What do we do? And Donald Pleasance.
So to fill people in, this was remade in the 90s, not very well, with surprisingly enough, because you'd think on paper this would kind of work once you see this film, how it plays out, but they had Robert De Niro play the central part, Harry Fabian, and it's sort of like a another version of his Rupert Pupkin character, and they had Jessica Lange in that. They set it in America and made it all about boxing, and it was very, very forgettable. Not even in the same universe of tonight's movie. But that's sort of a theme with our last few, that they've been remade in unforgettable and in forgettable ways, like Criss Cross was remade. And anyway, Jules Dassin, the director, to give some background, he had made a really big name for himself at this time, with such classics as The Naked City, which was a famous film noir, famous for being filmed completely on location. And that later became a TV show. And there's a great movie called Brute Force, which is a big prison escape film with Burt Lancaster and Hume Cronin in a rare, villainous, brutal role. Because he went on later to be such a kindly, figure on screen. And have we ever seen a thing with him on the show? Yeah, we watched The Parallax View, and he is Warren Beatty's like newspaper boss in that, if you recall.
Yeah.
Anyway, all of that good grace that he had fell into, and positive things in his career, was about to come to an abrupt halt with the wonderful folks rearing their ugly heads at the House of Un-American Activities.
Mm-hmm.
Because it was in full swing by this point, 1950, late 1940s, blacklisting anyone who was suspected of even having basically, when you get down to it, it's any left-leaning people because of how deep they dug into communist sympathies and things like that.
Yeah.
Basically, if you suggested any sort of not, patriotic, jingoistic, conservative view in your films or just in your personal life, they would haul you before, Congress and basically ruin you.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Dassin, though, yeah.
No, and true. Like I don't like throwing the word around conservative here and there because there are some very small positive elements about it that unfortunately have gotten lost in modern times. But there was also a lot of like neoliberalism during the McCarthy trials with the studio heads wanting to defend their own asses and their own financial backings, for lack of a term. Like, famously, Walt Disney sold out a lot of people because he thought he didn't like unions, and he confused unions with communism. So we're dealing with that kind of level of like brain trust stupidity there. It's like, I know one documentary I saw a long time ago, and unfortunately I forgot what it was, but I had this great quote that the powers to be in Hollywood ruined and sold out lives so they could keep their swimming pools in the Hollywood Hills.
Yeah, it was one of the more most probably bleakest time in Hollywood history, and the most noir time of people cutting each other's throats and selling them to McCarthy, and to often, other directors and things, suspected actors, directors, to save their own skin. It was a really shady kind of mob mentality of, well, tell us what you know and tell us who is in the racket with you, and you may be able to walk out of here, like that sort of crap.
Yeah.
And so Dassin, who was a member of the Communist Party in the 1930s, obviously he had left, but he was targeted for obvious reasons. And Darryl F. Zanuck, who was in charge of 20th Century Fox at the time, he sent Dassin. It's sort of a double-edged thing. He sent Dassin to England to adapt the novel Night in the City, written by Gerald Kirsch, and told him pretty much bluntly, get this going, get it into production. This will probably be the last film you ever make. So, yeah, knowing that his days were pretty much numbered at that point, Dassin kind of poured everything he had into the film, and I think it shows. It's one of the most striking, feverish films I've ever seen, and especially of the era. With a really all-star cast in it. Richard Widmark is the center, as giving, I think, his finest performance as Harry Fabian, who's a small-time hustler, out of place and out of joint, kind of like Jules Dassin, being stuck in London, who is desperate to make schemes, desperate to scheme and make himself into he wants to be somebody, make himself into the big time. For that, really only to pull him further and further into the city's criminal underworld. And he's a really fascinating actor and one of my favorites as well. He's kind of known in classic Hollywood as like the go-to sort of slimy, weaselly, morally gray protagonist / antagonist. I think you have seen him in Judgment at Nuremberg. He's one of the prosecuting guys. He was also in a lot of westerns, and he kind of got typecast in a certain light to where, it's kind of like Karloff was for spooky guys. Richard Widmark was kind of pigeonholed in playing the scheming, sort of slimy weasel type of guy. But this is really his big, leading man role. It's a really wonderful performance. I've heard allusions to recently, like Bob Odenkirk and Better Call Saul, that the characters are kind of analogous in that they are, Slippin' Jimmy in that show. He's just trying to make it big and scrape by, but he gets pulled in so far and so deep, out of his element, and kind of like a rat cornered, does anything he can for self-preservation.
Yeah.
And it's a great performance that's, restless, and he's constantly sweating and smirking, and it's a wonderful performance. And he's surrounded by a great cast. You have Gene Tierney in this too, who her role in it was kind of largely a studio mandate. She's a fabulous actress, but by this time she was going through a lot of personal, like borderline suicidal troubles in her own life. And Zanuck kind of wanted her. It's sort of a double-edged sword with that too, because on one hand you can see as Zanuck trying to do her a favor, Zanuck being the head of the studio again, but at the same time it's kind of like he wanted her almost out of sight and out of mind because of those widely publicized troubles she was having. So he kind of sent her over to Britain too. And she doesn't have a whole lot of screen time in this movie, but there is more of her character sort of fleshed out in the UK version, which we won't be watching. But I kind of want to do an interesting thing where we've talked about a podcast we're going to start up. So I'd like to revisit this for the podcast, and we might talk about the UK version there. It's like, it's not a huge difference. It's got a different score, and it's like 5 minutes longer, but kind of worth talking about in its own right. But what else? Who else is worth? Oh, some more people on the periphery here. Francis L. Sullivan has a really imposing nightclub owner role as a man named Phil Noceros, and let me tell you, he is a rhinoceros of a man. Or he's more like a pretentious British hippopotamus.
Yeah, is that the big guy who's like yes, it's like you're a dead man, Harry Fabian.
Yes, that's him, and it's a wonderful role. He was in a lot of the David Lean, Charles Dickens adaptations, Oliver Twist and Great Expectations. And it's funny because this is kind of like, if this is a very Dickensian type tragic tale, so it's fun that he gets placed here. Googie Withers, which is a funny name, as his sort of sharp scheming wife. Herbert Lom, who we all love in the Pink Panther movies. He's marvelous in those and is a great actor.
Yes, and for you kaiju fans, Herbert Lom was also Captain Nemo in Ray Harryhausen's Mysterious Island.
Oh my God! Yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah, wow. I didn't realize that until recently too. So, but then again, he was like wearing a beard. So.
Yeah, that's funny. I have to go back and see. I haven't seen that in forever, but
it's a good movie. It's a good. I know you have kind of fallen out of love with all things kaiju, but if there's a Ray Harryhausen double feature, I wouldn't mind doing Mysterious Island as one of them.
No, I would love to revisit that. Yes. But no, he's a fabulous actor, and here he plays a crime boss named Christo, who's also a wrestling promoter. So walking that tightrope. And as far as wrestling goes, we have the return of Moose. Mike Mazurki as sort of a villain who is definitely a big star called the Strangler in professional wrestling. And he kind of goes head up against a character named Gregorius, played by Stanislaus Zabisco, who was a famous wrestler in the 1920s, very famous Greco-Roman wrestler, founder, I think, of the Cauliflower Alley, which is like because of cauliflower ears, it's like a big sort of benefit organization for wrestlers and fighters and things. And he gives maybe the greatest performance I've ever seen from a wrestler ever. It is very touching. It is very real. And he plays Christo's father in this. And those two kind of being hulking giants in the roles that they're given, it kind of adds almost a mythic kind of physicality to a really brutal and unforgettable fight scene in the middle of this, which is the closest you'll see, I think, to a kaiju fight in a film noir. It's amazing. But visually, it's a stunning movie. It's got a great 2 different scores for the UK and American version. The American version, which we'll be hearing tonight, has a great sort of relentless, like pounding, chugging pace to it, which really helps or really complements the story. And for me, Night in the City, one of the greatest movies ever made, absolute favorite. It sort of encapsulates everything I love about the genre. You have your doomed characters, clawing through their own sort of destruction, and a really unrelenting sense of just fate and bad decisions all closing in on them. And I think it really does deserve to be spoken in the same breath as things like The Third Man, which I've had a rocky relationship with The Third Man, but we did show it for the show, and I've come to really like it and appraise it.
Really?
But,
I ended up liking The Third Man a lot more than I expected. But then again,
No,
that
it's
was another
terrific.
movie where cultural osmosis made me kind of go in there with preconceived notions, and I was ready to hate the movie until I actually saw it with my own eyes.
No, it's really tremendous, and Carol Reed is a marvelous director. But I think for as wonderful as that movie is, I think that the only reason that's more famous and more cropping up on a lot of lists than this movie is because of the two, leads with Orson Welles and Joseph Cotton and how iconic their interplay is and stuff. But this film is it is weird. It is unrelenting. I described it kind of as an uncut gems of the 1950s in terms of how desperate all these characters feel. And yeah, it's got a lot of energy and cunning and in a really bleak, cynical view. So there's not a lot of light at the end of the tunnel just to prepare people. But yeah, it's a marvelous movie, and one that I really love and scratches a lot of itches.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, we'll be starting the movie very soon because I'll save any extra thoughts I have until we actually see the movie.
Yeah.
And we have 4 people in the chat. Don't worry, we're going to be starting very soon, but I want to read some quick comments from Shay. He asks you, Brayton, I wanted to let you know that I watched Chinatown for the first time today. It was fantastic, though kind of depressing neo-noir at the end.
Oh, yeah. Chinatown's another one, which a lot of people kind of know the ending, but if you don't know, we'll show that on this show at some point, probably.
Yes. And of course he says, I'd love to join in for the Harryhausen movies. He hasn't seen Earth versus the Flying Saucers and First Spaceship on Venus until now. Okay. So, and he meant First Men on the Moon. Yeah. So, yeah. No, I was thinking like Mysterious Island and First Men on the Moon would be a good double feature together since they're both kind of Victorian steampunky. So, and they got big old stop motion monsters in it. But tonight we got monsters in human form in black and white.
That's right.
Yes.
Big sweaty men and scrawny sweaty men and
backstabbing women.
Yeah, there is nary a likable character, maybe except for again Stanislaus Zabisco as Gregorius the Great, who is very charming.
Yes.
But anyway, yeah, here we go.
Yes. So what was I going to say before we began? There was something else I want to mention just before we start. I don't know what it was. Okay. It'll come back to me one way or another. Okay. So yeah, we're going to go ahead and start the movie. And so we're going to fade to black and we'll see you on the other side. You'll probably still hear us a little bit throughout the film, but for the most part, I'm going to try to give this one my full attention.
Okay.
Thank you. Yes. So here we go from
1950.
Night and the City, here on the movie Graveyard Shift. It's your last picture. Oh, that's what I wanted to say. Yeah. Okay, I'll save that for the after show.